Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name's Kenny and I'm here every single week to talk about movies. Palm Springs is the latest take on that Groundhog Day time loop plot. Andy Samberg plays Nils, our main character. He's the one who's stuck in the repeating day cycle during a wedding in Palm Springs. By the way, Andy Samberg did that one SNL skit getting punched in the face before eating. I love that skit. It's hilarious, and every time I see that ridiculously huge smile, it just reminds me of him punching people in the face and then dancing around. Anyway, Palm Springs came out in 2020. It's another one of those COVID-era movies that bypassed the theaters altogether and went right to streaming. Check it out on Hulu. What's a little different about this version of the repeating day type movie is that we meet Niles already in the cycle. So a lot of the scenes that would typically be needed to set up the plot, they're skipped. And it really speeds up the pace, which is nice, considering we as the audience are already pretty familiar with the premise, having seen Groundhog's Day, Happy Death Day, Edge of Tomorrow. We get it. The day happens, you fall asleep, you wake up, it's the same day. We do have another character, one of the bridesmaids, Sarah, played by Kristen Miolioi. I don't know how to say her name. She's new to the cycle, but she's quickly brought up to speed thanks to Niles already being familiar with the whole situation. And the exposition with her is mostly just used to kind of fill us in on what's different about this version of the time loop. The primary difference being that in this movie, other people are able to get stuck in the loop with you. So besides Niles and Sarah, we also have Roy, played by J.K. Simmons, also stuck in the loop. He's not in the movie much, but I mean, his scenes are great. My introduction to J.K. Simmons, by the way, like probably everybody else, was Whiplash. Good movie. But Simmons played like a real creep, and I just couldn't like his character. He plays a bit of a bad guy in this movie too, but it's not as heavy-handed. They have a lot more fun with the character, and I liked his character in this movie much better. Just altogether more likable person. What I really like about the whole multiple characters stuck in the time loop is we get dialogue between them, and they can really share their feelings about the situation. It gets very philosophical very quick, and they bring up a lot of really interesting ideas. Each character kind of have their own take on the situation. Niles pretty much sees his existence as meaningless, and without purpose, he pretty much is just stuck in endless suffering. A lot of his focus and attention is given to like different ways to suffer. For instance, just before Sarah is about to crash in a head-on with a big truck, he takes off his seatbelt and kind of gets himself in position to die instantly, confessing that even though we can't die, pain is real. And there's nothing worse than slowly dying in the ICU. So his focus there is just on the idea that he could suffer from this. When talking about hurting other people, he says, it doesn't matter that everything resets and people don't remember. We remember. We have to deal with the things that we do. So, along with suffering from physical pain, his past haunts him as well, and he suffers from guilt. We eventually see him suffering as well. A bit later in the movie, Sarah and Niles kind of have this fight because, of course they have a fight. It wouldn't be much of a movie if they just got along the whole time. Anyway, so after the fight, Sarah actually runs away and leaves every single day, leaving Niles all alone. And we see him suffer with the pain of losing the woman that he'd been falling in love with the entire movie. Roy is just very angry and resentful about being in the loop. And he does have reason for this. At one point, there's a very touching scene where he confesses feeling sad about never being able to watch his kids grow up or walk his daughter down the aisle. And because of this, he grew to hate Niles for bringing him into the loop and just like repeatedly kills him and tortures him. Sarah, after getting through just being confused about the loop, she kind of starts to actually have fun with it. She and Niles kind of run around doing some like off-the-wall stuff, and it's actually really funny. Like at one point, the two of them learn this dance routine and they go perform it like in a dive bar in front of everybody and then just leave. That's like a really funny scene. At one point, she like plants a bomb in the wedding cake and then acts like a super villain. Anyway, as the movie goes on, you can see all three of them start to grow and change their minds despite the confines of their situation. And this is what I really love about movies. Seeing people just be people. It could be a comedy, an action, a horror, a thriller. I don't care. I like seeing people grow and develop over time. And in this movie, we get some really good scenes of them changing their minds or views on the world and their reality. Niles actually starts to focus on things that give him hope. After realizing his love for Sarah, he has a reason to try and escape from the time loop. Whereas before, he was just willing to accept his eternal suffering. Roy's growth is actually one of my favorites to see. He starts off very angry, like murdering Niles on a regular basis angry, but he eventually acknowledges that of all the days to redo, this day in particular is beautiful. He's got beautiful kids, his wife's in the prime of her womanhood, so if there's any day to live again and again, this day seems more than good enough. So he manages to find good in his otherwise rotten situation. And that leaves us with Sarah, who so far has been kind of a very flawed character. She drinks too much and smokes too much, and she's pretty much the black sheep of her family. She even had an affair with her sister's fiance the day before the wedding. Super spoiler! Maybe I should have said that before I had the reveal. Oh well, it says spoilers in the title. This is your fault. I spoiled the movie for you. Anyway, as the movie goes on, we see her begin to take charge of her life. She confronts her sister's fiance, her lover, and calls off the affair. She devises a plan to escape from the time loop altogether, taking full charge of her life and her destiny. And not just her destiny, but the destiny of Niles and Roy also. Pretty much a really good movie. It's even probably one of my favorite rom-coms. But if I had to complain about one part, it's the ending. Niles and Sarah escape. Like 100%, no ambiguity, escape. I didn't like this. I wish that after exploding themselves, you never get to see them out of the loop. That would have left it up to the viewer. Did they die? Did they escape? Who knows? Making it so concrete was a little too perfect for me. Cutting out that one scene of the two of them together after escaping would have made this a much better ending. Anyway, what do you think, in particular about the ending? Did you like the way it was? Maybe an uncertain ending would have been a little too sad for a comedy. Or maybe I'm right, and they should have cut that part out. Because having that happy ending beat over my head was just a little too much. Anyway, if you made it this far in the video, thanks a lot for watching. Knowing that anyone out there is actually watching these videos really makes it worthwhile. And don't forget to subscribe. That way you can stay up to date on what I'm watching. And until next time, let's not just watch movies. Let's talk about them too.